Europe is an incredibly diverse continent and has many beautiful cities. Many of those cities are perfectly set up for tourists, but there are some that are considered more dangerous than others. What makes a city dangerous? Is it the number of criminal reports, natural disasters, scams, terrorist attacks? Generally, it's a combination of all of those. Europe is quite lucky to be a continent full of safe and bucket list worthy destinations. But there will always be some level of risk wherever you go. Let's take a look at 16 most dangerous cities in Europe. Number 16, Athens, Greece. Athens is a relatively safe city for tourists, but there have been reports of pickpocketing and other petty crimes. It's important to stay alert and keep an eye on your belongings when walking around the city. Be wary of scams targeting tourists, especially in tourist-heavy areas like the Acropolis or Plaka. Fake taxis are also common in the city, so it's best to book with a reputable taxi service or use ride-sharing apps like Uber. Be aware of your surroundings when walking around at night and keep an eye out for any suspicious behavior. Safety tip: there are often demonstrations in the city which can become violent. It's best to avoid these areas as much as possible. Number 15, Rome, Italy. Rome is a busy city, so it's inevitable that there will be some crime. Pickpocketing and bag snatching are the most common crimes, so it's important to stay vigilant and keep a close eye on your belongings at all times. Scam artists also operate in fascinating Rome, targeting tourists with fraudulent schemes designed to separate them from their money. Be especially cautious in crowded tourist sites such as the Colosseum and Spanish Steps, where pickpockets thrive. Also, avoid visiting any secluded areas alone at night. If you do need to travel somewhere late at night, use public transportation or a licensed taxi service. Safety tip: even hotel rooms can be targeted, so don't leave your belongings at the hotel unless you have a safe in the room. Number 14, Barcelona, Spain. Barcelona came under terrorist fire fairly recently, making it all the more important to stay aware of your surroundings. Pickpocketing, muggings, and scams are all common in Barcelona, so it's best to avoid unfamiliar areas after dark. Be sure to keep a close eye on your belongings at all times, especially near Barcelona landmarks and tourist sites such as La Rambla and the beaches. Barcelona's nightlife is famous, but always keep an eye on your drinks, as reports of drugging have been made. Safety tip: it's best to avoid unfamiliar areas after dark and never wander alone at night. Be on the lookout for suspicious activity at all times and keep a close eye on your belongings. Number 13, Milan, Italy. A trip to Milan offers many opportunities for fun and exploration, but there are some safety concerns that travelers should be aware of. Pickpocketing is a major problem in Milan, especially on public transport such as buses and trains. Tourists are prime targets for scams, so it's important to stay alert and know who you're dealing with before handing over any money or information. There are areas to avoid, such as Loreto, Central Station, and Porto de Mare, which are not known to be safe for tourists at night. Safety tip: people may approach you and offer you help, but be wary, as the majority of these offers will then turn into demands for money. Number 12, Catania, Italy. You'll find Catania just off the coast of Sicily, and it's a popular tourist destination. However, like most places in Italy, Catania has issues with petty theft and pickpocketing. The city's crime index climbs each year, sadly, and it's made up of petty theft, carjacking, and the occasional violent crime. Catania also sees a lot of corruption. On top of all that, natural disasters strike the city regularly, so be prepared for earthquakes and volcanic activity. It is a beautiful city, though, and if you're careful, you can have a lovely vacation here. Safety tip: never walk in the streets alone at night. Keep an eye on your belongings and make friends with locals so you have some on-the-ground knowledge. Number 11, Glasgow, Scotland. Scotland's Glasgow has a bit of a notorious reputation. The city has its share of crime and violence, ranging from thefts to violent attacks. But most of these are caused by drunk rowdiness. The streets are policed quite heavily during the day to ensure everyone behaves and in case of rare terrorist attacks. If you go out to a pub in Glasgow, it is best to stick to areas with plenty of people around and avoid going alone. Safety tip: don't wear football colors out in public, local or international. This is a touchy subject and will only cause trouble. Pubs don't allow football colors at all either. Number 10, Podgorica, Montenegro. Podgorica is a tiny city, but it does have some problem areas. A lot of the crime here happens between rival criminal groups, and this includes daytime shootouts and car bombings. That sounds very scary, but as a tourist, you're not targeted in these attacks. However, it is still important to be aware of your surroundings and avoid any suspicious activity. Avoid the slums and secluded areas when traveling in Podgorica, as these are the places where crime takes place. Safety tip: be extra vigilant after dark and travel in groups if possible. Also, watch out for pickpockets who may target tourists. Number 9. Montpellier, France. There is quite a bit of crime in Montpellier. Pickpocketing and theft are the most common crimes tourists experience, so it's important to keep a close eye on your belongings while out and about. Car theft and burglary are also quite common in the city. These are not uncommon things for such a big city, though. Be alert and aware of your surroundings at all times, as criminals often target tourists who look vulnerable or distracted. Safety tip: it's not wise to walk anywhere after dark in this city, especially if you are a woman. Rather, take a secure car service and be aware of street lurkers when you are out. Number 8. Lodz, Poland. This city hosts many film festivals and has plenty of attractions for visitors. Lodz is relatively safe for tourists, but there are crimes reported in some neighborhoods. You will also notice plenty of beggars in the streets, and this can cause vandalism and other nuisances. Safety tip: streets like Włókienica Street, Abramowskiego Street, Solna Street, and Lemanowskiego Street are best avoided. Number 7. Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Petty crime is high in Sarajevo, and travelers are more likely to be victims of pickpocketing, purse snatching, and other forms of theft. If you're visiting Sarajevo, stay away from dodgy areas of the city and always be aware of your surroundings. Don't leave any valuables visible in your car or on display in public areas. Safety tip: another danger in Sarajevo is the landmines and bombs left behind from the Yugoslav wars. Avoid the hilly areas that are marked off with tape and don't enter abandoned buildings. Number 6. Bradford, United Kingdom. Bradford has the highest crime index of all European cities. The crime here is mainly centered around violent outbursts, but there is also a lot of harassment and theft that goes on. It's important to note that the Bradford police don't agree with the city's reputation for being the most dangerous city in Europe. Regardless, it's important to be aware of your surroundings and not leave any valuables visible in cars or other public places. Safety tip: it's best to avoid the seedy areas around the city at night, as this is when the majority of crime takes place. Number 5. Minsk, Belarus. Even though Minsk has a high crime index, the Belarus government has a zero-tolerance policy for all crime. This has made it one of the safest cities in Europe. Tourists should still be aware of their surroundings, however, as there have been reports of pickpocketing and mugging. One major danger in the city, though, is the reckless driving of the local drivers. They often speed and ignore traffic laws, so it's important to be cautious when crossing the streets. Safety tip: it's against the law to photograph state buildings in Minsk, so while staying safe, avoid getting into trouble with police as well. Number 4. Kristiansand, Norway. Norway is known to be a safe country, and Kristiansand is not as dangerous as it might sound. There are drug issues and petty theft, but violent crime is rare. However, it's still important to be aware of your surroundings at all times and keep valuables close. The city's main pain points are drunks and beggars loitering in the streets and looking for targets. It's best to avoid areas that are known for drug dealing and loitering. Try and stay in well-lit areas at night if possible. Safety tip: if you see a suspicious person, it's best to walk away and find alternative routes back. Always trust your gut feeling and be aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel right, take an alternate route or go somewhere public where there are. Number 3. Malmö, Sweden. Of all the Swedish cities, Malmö is the worst affected by crime. There are gang shootings, bombings, and other violent acts that occur throughout the city. While tourists are unlikely to be victims of crime, it's important to stay aware and not wander around alone at night. Malmö also has a large population of gypsies. While they may try and scam you out of money or goods, they are generally harmless. The biggest risk is petty theft and pickpocketing, which have been known to occur in crowded areas. Safety tip: keep yourself out of trouble by avoiding the surrounding suburbs at night and stay away from potential bar brawls. But if you do have any problems, know that the police are fast to act and will help. Number 2. Dnipro, Ukraine. Located in Eastern Europe, Dnipro is a popular tourist destination for backpackers and adventurers. But like most cities in Ukraine, it's not without its risks. There have been reports of pickpocketing, scams, and even violent crime. It's best to stay away from secluded locations at night. There is also a lot of organized crime and corruption in the city. Safety tip: as a tourist, it's important to stay away from any kind of political demonstrations that could lead to violence or arrests. Number 1. Nantes, France. One of the most beautiful cities in France, Nantes is relatively safe. Pickpocketing and car theft are both issues, and there has been a sharp increase in criminal activity over the past few years due to drug dealing. Nantes also has some dangerous neighborhoods that you should avoid. These include the Dervali Rays and Body Ray areas. At times, there are also demonstrations that can turn violent. Staying away from these is advised. Safety tip: for a safe and pleasant time in Nantes, stick to areas in the north of Nantes as the crime is lower in this region.